Have you ever noticed something strange about conflict? The person who seems most dangerous is rarely the one shouting the loudest or flexing their muscles. No, the truly terrifying individual in any confrontation is the one who remains completely, unnaturally calm. It's unsettling, isn't it? While everyone else is losing their minds, that one person stands there with an almost eerie composure, and somehow, they're the one who ends up in control. This isn't some modern psychological trick or a recent discovery from neuroscience. This is ancient wisdom, battle-tested over centuries by one of the most legendary warriors who ever lived. I'm talking about Miyamoto Musashi, the undefeated samurai of feudal Japan. Over 60 duels to the death, 60 moments where a single mistake meant his life was over. And yet, he never lost. Not once. But here's what most people don't understand about Musashi. His dominance didn't come from having the fastest sword or the most powerful strikes. It came from something far more devastating, something that gave him an almost supernatural advantage over every opponent he faced. It was his ability to remain absolutely calm while chaos erupted around him. While his enemies were drowning in their own fear and rage, Musashi's mind was clear as still water, and that clarity was his greatest weapon. The fascinating part? The same principles Musashi mastered in those life-or-death battles work perfectly in the conflicts we face today. Whether you're dealing with a toxic coworker, navigating a heated family argument, or trying to keep your cool when someone attacks you on social media, the fundamental dynamics are exactly the same. Whoever controls their mind controls the outcome. Now, before we dive deep into Musashi's secrets, let me ask you something. When someone yells at you, when someone gets in your face with aggressive energy, what happens inside your body in that moment? Be honest. Your heart starts pounding, right? Your muscles tense up. You feel this wave of anger or fear rising from your gut, and before you even realize it, you're completely swept up in the emotional storm. You're reacting, not responding. You're being controlled by your feelings instead of controlling them. This is the trap. And Musashi understood this trap better than anyone in history. He saw that most people lose fights before they even throw a punch because they've already lost control of themselves. The moment you let emotions take over, you've handed your power to someone else. You become predictable, you become vulnerable, and in a duel to the death, that vulnerability means you die. So Musashi developed a systematic approach to maintaining calm, even when everything around him was designed to trigger panic. It wasn't just philosophical theory. These were practical techniques he refined through actual combat, where failure meant death. And today, I'm going to break down his 4-step framework that kept him undefeated and show you exactly how to apply it to your own life. Principle 1. Emotional distance. The first principle is what Musashi called emotional distance. This isn't about being cold or disconnected from your feelings. What Musashi discovered was something far more powerful. He learned to observe his emotions without becoming them. There's a massive difference between saying I am angry and saying I'm noticing that I'm feeling angry right now. The first statement identifies you with the emotion. You become the anger. It consumes you, controls you, makes your decisions for you. But the second statement creates space. It acknowledges the emotion exists, but you're separate from it. You're observing it like you might observe a cloud passing overhead. Musashi described this state as watching a battle from above, seeing the whole field of combat with detachment. He didn't deny his fear when he felt it. He didn't pretend anger didn't arise, but he refused to let those emotions hijack his actions. He saw them arise, acknowledged them, and let them pass through him without clinging to them. This is incredibly difficult to do, especially in the heat of the moment. Our brains are wired for immediate reaction. When we perceive a threat, our amygdala floods our system with stress hormones. Most people spend their entire lives being puppets to this response. Someone insults them, and they immediately snap back. Someone threatens them, and they either attack or retreat without thinking. But modern neuroscience has actually validated what Musashi discovered through combat. Research shows that when you label your emotions, when you say to yourself, I'm noticing anger or I'm observing fear, you activate your prefrontal cortex, the rational thinking part of your brain. This literally calms down the emotional centers. The simple act of naming what you feel creates that crucial space between stimulus and response. So how do you develop this skill? Start simple. The next time you feel a strong emotion during any conflict, even a small one like a frustrating email, pause for just a moment. Say to yourself, I notice I'm feeling frustrated right now. That's it. Don't judge the feeling. Don't try to suppress it. Just notice it and name it. With practice, that tiny space you create starts to expand. Over time, you develop this observer part of yourself that can watch your emotional reactions without being controlled by them. And this is when you gain real power in conflicts. Because while everyone else is being tossed around by their feelings, you're seeing clearly. You're choosing your responses instead of just reacting. Principle 2. Anticipatory awareness. But emotional distance alone isn't enough. This brings us to Musashi's second principle, anticipatory awareness. Musashi called it foreknowledge, the ability to perceive what's coming before it actually happens. This might sound mystical, but it's not. It's about pattern recognition. Musashi understood that human beings follow predictable patterns, especially under pressure. Anger expresses itself in consistent ways. Fear limits our choices in recognizable patterns. Before Musashi entered any duel, he studied his opponent. He watched how they moved, how they reacted to stress, what techniques they favored. In his most famous duel against Sasaki Kojiro, one of the greatest swordsmen of that era, Musashi demonstrated this brilliantly. He knew Kojiro was vain and impatient. He knew Kojiro used an unusually long sword. So Musashi showed up late, deliberately, knowing this would agitate Kojiro. Then, on the boat ride to the duel, Musashi carved his own wooden sword, making it slightly longer than Kojiro's blade. He won the psychological battle before the physical duel even began. Think about how you can apply this to modern conflicts. Before you walk into a difficult conversation, take 30 seconds and ask yourself 3 questions. What is this person's likely emotional state right now? What do they really want from this interaction? What are the 3 most likely reactions they might have to what I'm going to say? By answering these questions, you're preparing your brain for what's coming. You're removing the element of surprise, which is one of the main triggers for panic and poor decision-making. FBI hostage negotiators don't just walk into crisis situations and wing it. They assess the person's emotional profile, review past behaviors, and map out possible paths the dialogue might take. This is the power of anticipatory awareness. It's not about manipulating people. It's about understanding human nature well enough that you can navigate emotional territory without getting lost in it. The more you understand people's patterns, the less you'll be surprised by their reactions. And the less you're surprised, the calmer you remain. Principle 3. Strategic breathing. Now let's talk about the third principle, incredibly practical and immediate in its effects. Musashi understood that there's a direct bridge between your body and your mind, and that bridge is your breathing. He noticed that when his opponents experienced fear or anger, the first thing that changed was their breathing. It became rapid, shallow, irregular. So Musashi developed strategic breathing. He controlled every single breath he took during combat. When your body breathes calmly, your mind stays clear, even when everything around you is chaos. Modern science has proven exactly what Musashi discovered. When you breathe slowly and with control, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for the relaxation response. Rapid breathing does the opposite, triggering fight or flight mode. Controlled breathing is literally a biological switch. You can go from high alert to calm in seconds just by changing how you breathe. Musashi had a specific technique he used before decisive moments. He would take one conscious breath, a deep inhale through his nose, counting to 4. Hold it briefly, then exhale through his mouth, counting to 6. This single breath cycle brought his body and mind into alignment, creating a pocket of calm within whatever storm was happening around him. Try it right now. Breathe in through your nose, slowly, for 4 counts. Hold for a moment. Now exhale through your mouth for 6 counts. Feel that slight shift? That's your nervous system responding. That's your body. Moving from stress mode into calm mode. Imagine using this before a tense meeting, before a difficult phone call, before you respond to that infuriating message. Just one strategic breath. Even one cycle is enough to reduce tension and clear your thoughts. The beauty of strategic breathing is that it's always available to you. No matter how chaotic the external world becomes, you always have the power to control your breath. And when you control your breath, you control your state. Principle 4. Purposeful action. Now we come to the fourth principle that ties everything together. Purposeful action. Imagine you're in the middle of an intense confrontation. Emotions are running high, voices are raised, tension fills the air. Most people in this scenario operate on autopilot. They react automatically. They want to win the argument, prove they're right, maybe hurt the other person back. But Musashi approached conflict completely differently. He didn't fight to satisfy his ego. He fought with a clear purpose, guiding every decision. Musashi believed that acting without a defined objective was the same as fighting blindly. Many of his opponents entered duels filled with anger, driven by a need to prove their strength. Musashi had something different: clarity. He knew exactly what he wanted from every move he made. In modern conflicts, this principle becomes critical. Think about the last argument you had that spiraled out of control. It probably started with a legitimate issue, but soon it devolved into accusations, bringing up past grievances, throwing blame around. Why? Because people lose sight of the original purpose. When the purpose disappears, chaos takes over. The solution is simple but requires discipline. Before you enter any conflict, any difficult conversation, stop for a moment and ask yourself one question. What is my real goal here? Answer it in a single sentence. Make it direct, clear, something that can serve as your emotional anchor throughout the conversation. It might be, I want to resolve this misunderstanding without causing more pain. Or I want to defend my position without disrespecting anyone. Or even just, I want to protect my peace. Whatever it is, make it clear to yourself. Then, during the confrontation, when you feel emotions starting to rise, repeat that purpose to yourself mentally. This practice keeps you grounded. It prevents you from acting on impulse, from saying things you'll regret. Your words and actions begin to serve your purpose, rather than your wounded ego. And having a clear purpose doesn't mean being cold or emotionless. It means your emotions start working for something bigger instead of against you. This focus transforms conflict from something purely destructive into something that can actually build and strengthen. Musashi was calm because he had clarity about what he was trying to achieve. When you know what you're fighting for, really know it, you choose when to engage and when to walk away. More importantly, you choose when not to fight at all. Because true power isn't in winning every confrontation, it's in transcending them. The path forward. Musashi discovered this centuries ago. He realized that mastery in combat wasn't really about defeating another person, it was about mastering yourself. His 4 principles, emotional distance, anticipatory awareness, strategic breathing, and purposeful action, these aren't just tactics for winning battles. They're pathways to living a more conscious, centered, and free life. What Musashi taught goes beyond technique, beyond conflict, beyond victory. It's a philosophy about how to move through life without being pulled around by every emotional wave. It's about seeing clearly when others are blinded by their feelings. It's about acting with intention when others are just reacting. We live in a world that constantly tries to provoke us. Social media is designed to trigger emotional reactions. Traffic tests our patience. Everything seems engineered to make us lose control. But the truly powerful person isn't the one who shouts the loudest or reacts the fastest. It's the one who remains calm while everyone else is losing their minds. When you begin to master these principles, something interesting happens. You start to realize that many conflicts simply disappear, not because the external world changed, but because you changed. The conflicts only existed because of how you were reacting to them. By transforming yourself internally, you literally change the nature of your interactions with the world. This is the way, not of brute force, but of inner strength. It's not about dominating others. It's about having such complete mastery over yourself that external chaos can't shake you. Think about what this means for your life. Imagine having someone try to provoke you, and instead of feeling that automatic surge of anger, you notice the emotion arising and watch it pass. Imagine being in a tense meeting and instead of feeling anxious, you take one strategic breath and respond with clarity. This isn't some unrealistic fantasy. This is what becomes possible when you train your mind the way Musashi trained his. It takes practice, absolutely. But the rewards are immeasurable. You gain something that no one can take from you. Inner peace that doesn't depend on external circumstances. Emotional freedom that allows you to choose your responses instead of being controlled by your reactions. The calmest person in the room truly is the most powerful, not because they're suppressing their emotions or pretending everything is fine, but because they've developed the capacity to observe their emotions without being enslaved by them. They've learned to anticipate rather than just react. They've mastered the simple but profound tool of strategic breathing. and they've clarified their purpose so thoroughly that temporary emotional storms can't knock them off course. Musashi's legacy isn't just that he was an undefeated warrior. His real legacy is showing us that the greatest battles we fight aren't against other people. They're against our own reactive patterns, our unconscious habits, our tendency to be swept away by our feelings. And the greatest victory isn't defeating an external enemy. It's mastering yourself so completely that you no longer need to fight most battles at all. So are you ready for this journey? Are you ready to develop the kind of calm that made warriors like Musashi legendary? It starts with one small practice. The next time you feel strong emotions rising, just pause. Take one strategic breath. Notice what you're feeling without becoming it. Ask yourself what you really want from the situation. These simple actions, repeated consistently over time, will fundamentally transform how you move through conflict and challenge. You'll stop being reactive and start being responsive. You'll stop being controlled and start being free. This is the path Musashi walked. This is the secret to staying calm in any conflict. Not through force, not through suppression, but through awareness, through breath, through purpose, and through the profound understanding that true strength comes from within. The world will keep trying to provoke you. People will still push your buttons. Stressful situations will continue to arise. But you will be different. You'll be the person who remains calm when everyone else is losing control. You'll be the one who sees clearly when others are blinded by emotion. You'll be the one who acts with purpose when others are just reacting on impulse. That is the power of Musashi's teachings. That is the secret to staying calm in conflict. And that power is available to you right now, today, if you're willing to practice these principles and make them part of who you are. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Your step starts with your next breath. Make it a conscious one.